Exhaustion. Everyone who's played Dead by Daylight for more than a week is familiar with it, killer or survivor. It's been a prevalent factor across all of Dead by Daylight ever since the dark ages of infinites and dead harding for distance. You'd be hard-pressed to find a player that hasn't had Exhaustion come into play in a match in the last 24 hours. This does make sense with the meta being practically held at gunpoint by the perks like Sprint Burst, Live, and the recent unholy as shit made for this. These kinds of perks, especially the Bane of 110s everywhere, are why Exhaustion-inflicting perks and add-ons like Fearmonger and Huntress's Venomous Concoction are becoming increasingly popular, especially on 115% R2 only killers who are very screwed over by these kinds of perks. However, Exhaustion has to have a greater meaning to it. You see, if perks like Sprint Burst and Made for This get rightfully nerfed and become balanced, and become used less and less, what will Exhaustion's purpose be then? When that hopefully happens, Exhaustion perks and add-ons will become even more situational than they actually already are, and the only thing keeping them afloat in the meta now is, like, the prevalence of all these kinds of perks. And, like, if they become balanced, they become, like, less prevalent. You know, that's how it works. And if, like, these changes, like, hopefully come to pass, Fearmonger's usefulness, as it stands now, is gonna tank in value. Sure, it's got the blindness, but all the motherfucker really has to do against that is just hop off the gen for 5 seconds and they're back with their Windows opportunity and troubleshooter. No getting rid of their exhaustion necessary. Basically, exhaustion needs to have a consequence other than just not being able to use, like, some specific perks. One thing exhaustion could do is make your breathing and grunts of pain become like 50% louder, and or being able to be heard from further away. Another thing, maybe exhaustion could make great skill checks harder, or even impossible to hit, since exhaustion IRL can make hand-eye coordination worse. The next one would probably be a little bit too busted, but maybe it could, like, make your overall movement speed slower. Maybe the lower movement speed should only, like, happen, like, outside of chase, probably. But, hey, it would work. It'd be something. Like, something to make it more substantial than just locking you out of using some perks. Situational things in any kind of game are oftentimes never a good option unless they have a nice benefit to back them up. For example, the penguin suit in the new Super Mario Bros. Games is an item used for swimming through water more efficiently, or sliding through brick blocks to reach new areas, or sliding all across, like, ice in snow levels. However, you also get the effect of the ice flower, which lets you throw snowballs at enemies to freeze them, allowing you to use them as platforms, ground pounding them to kill them, or throwing them at other enemies or brick blocks. This allows you to have, like, a strong offensive tool, while also giving you situational tools that you can use when the need for them arises. An example of a situational item not having really anything substantial to back it up is the Boing Zeta from Plants vs. Zombies 2. Basically, what this thing does is that it bounces zombies back a bit, and it can also, like, destroy just about, like, all, like, normal, like, gravestones on the lawn at once. Like, any, like, lawn obstacles just gone, and even those with, like, that are, like, bulkier get, like, a bunch of their health, like, chunked off. However, beyond that, Ice Bloom isn't really that, like, applicable unless you have, like, a strong build to back up. It's, like, it's bounce back, which isn't really the greatest thing all the time. It's not something you really want to keep it around for. Like, only keep it around if you have, like, a greater amount of slowdown. Like, just on its own, it's not really anything. Finally, an example from Dead by Daylight is the killer perk Lightborn. This perk makes you completely immune to blinding of any kind while revealing the aura of any survivor that attempts to blind you. This completely removes any need to worry about flashlight saves, prevents survivors from blinding you at a pallet or a window, and also pisses off a certain bargain bin Jeff Johansson. However, this perk has no real use beyond that, and if no survivors have blinding stuff or don't make any attempts to blind, then it's, for all intents and purposes, a wasted perk slot. All in all, Exhaustion has to become a more daunting status effect for survivors, especially if behavior is hopefully looking to nerf Exhaustion perks across the board. If next to nobody used Exhaustion perks, then all this Exhaustion costing killer stuff would fall off dramatically in the meta. Like I said, the only thing keeping these things afloat in, like, the meta is, like, the hyper prevalence of, like, speed boost perks, like Sprint Burst Life and all the other shit. Basically, I don't know what needs to be done with Exhaustion, but it needs to be at least something. Lest the aforementioned Fearmonger and Venomous Concoction go from hero to Sub-Zero. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Like it if you did indeed enjoy it. Subscribe if you want to see more. Only negative 100% of you are subscribed, so I'd really be thankful. Lastly, go ahead and follow my socials down in the description. And with that, I have been Zachary Flowers, and to summarize, at least nerf made for this please behavior. These huntress mains are struggling out here, man. Come on.
Don't like this video. Did you just like it? You better not comment. You don't listen very well, do you? Did you just share it?
I think can be really hard for autistic people.
Rock and roll,